Hi guys and welcome to Bomb Anime. It's your girl
Ruka
and Big Boy Sam here, bringing you another wild card. It's our part 2 on Let's Talk of Promised Neverland, the finale.
So we have just finished watching the finale, and I guess I was closer to being right than you, because I was just like, they get to the human world, basically the end.
I kind of feel like my version would have been a better story, but okay.
I would say any version would have been a better story. I'm guessing that the people who have actually read the manga are pissed even more than they've been throughout this season 2 of this anime. It's very strange that they chose to do it like this. I'm guessing there is no season 3. It felt very, very final, as if there is no more story to tell.
I saw a lot more in the last half a minute of frames that we were given as it's closing out. That could have been a whole season, to be fair. And I feel upset that they just glossed over everything. Like, look, I'm not happy with the directions that they took, but there was still so much story there that they've just basically said, here you go, here's something, it's done now.
They literally gave us a montage. A montage. They sent off the other kids and the mamas. Everything was forgiven. They might as well have just said it was all a dream. I mean, the children and the mamas went across to the real world. No one in the human world seemed to notice. I assume they went into Japan. I'm sliding a little edit in here. It seems like it's America because the signs are in English and the school bus is an American school bus. Every country has something similar to like a social security card, a national insurance number, something that is specific to you as a citizen that basically is a recognition that you belong in this country. How did they obtain these things? How did they get housing? How did they all manage to get into schools? How did they get rid of those tattoos on their necks? There is so much just from the people who went off into the human world. There was no one on the other side of the gate. The government on that side had no idea about this promise. I know it was 1,000 years ago, but come on. Someone somewhere knows that this needs to be maintained, because if it's not maintained, the demons are going to eat that ass up.
So, Ruka, what you just described is what I would have thought season 5 could have been, or season 6. That's how much stuff could have gone into this. And look, I've not read the read the manga or the light novels or anything, but I'm just saying, the stories about how Emma and her team of sycophantic simpy love boys and their simpy love followers basically went around trying to change the demon world, that's a whole 2 seasons for me. Like, you could easily make that story great. And then your story about what happened to the guys on the outside, bruv, that's easily a season, bro. Because as you said, no national insurance number, no social security, none of that. I mean, they've got
bank account.
They've got it tattooed on their neck, so who knows? But still,
passport,
bruv, I'm just saying, like,
housing, food, money.
That episode 10 could have easily been the final. And right now, I'm so annoyed that I'm wasting my time watching season 2.
Now, I don't know how everybody else out there feels, but I actually really do believe that the studio did love the anime, because in season 1 so much care was taken in every aspect. Loads of care was taken, and I do feel like season 1 was probably a direct adaptation from the mangas without much changes and without much removed. Season 2 kind of seemed like they were just like, do you know what? It.
Literally, fam, like, literally. Look, you told the most beautiful horror story you could possibly tell involving children and monsters. And I'm telling you, season 1 was a banger. You were there. I couldn't stop trying to binge this thing. Do you get what I mean? I was madly in love with it. And then season 2, it had its dips. And it went up slightly and had its dips. But I was like, okay, the story's continuing. I'm invested now. I really want to know. And now you just You tied it up, but not even in a pretty little bow. You just found some cord that you saw lying around somewhere and decided to make a tourniquet. It was disgusting. And I'm very annoyed at how you can present this anime to me and the audience. I can honestly believe, and I understand now, how people were so vexed at this.
I really do think that the studio knew that everyone was going to be upset, and that's why they just like, okay, this is the end. We're just gonna do this last season. We're gonna try and wrap up everything that happened in the manga all right now, and we're just gonna miss out a bunch of stuff because there's no way that they adapted everything. It's impossible. I already heard that 4 arcs were missed out between, I think, season 1, the end of season 1 and the beginning of season 2, I think, if I'm correct. But because I haven't read it myself, it's hard to be exact right now. But now I just wish I'd just gone for the spoilers and just, who cares? How does Emma not look that much older, yet Phil, who was what, 4 years old, 5 years old, looks like he's 10, 11 years old, and Emma looks like she's aged about another 2 years.
If that, I mean, she should be a woman now.
She's just taller. I know she was taller, but it was just...
And what's going on with her and Mujika? Like, what's going on?
That was weird, right? Like, what? I was getting vibes from that.
Yeah, same. I'm not against that kind of relationship, but I'm just saying it has no place here to move the story forward. It just felt they were throwing everything into the mix.
Or maybe they were trying to say like it's a union between the two sides, between the demon side and the human side, so that's why they were joined in hands together. It's like they've changed the world, but I don't see where they changed the world or what they did. I mean, apart from Mujika looking more like some kind of saint
or royalty.
But what happened to the royalty exactly? What happened to their army? I mean, you just gave everyone the blood. We don't even know. How did you get to the other farms? Because they kept saying mass-produced farms, and that makes me think of like, you know, like battery-farmed hens?
Or cows or pigs or whatever, yeah, where they're just there, like, in concrete and stuff.
Right, like just piled on top of each other. Yeah. It doesn't really matter about like the intelligence per se. They're just quick food for the masses, so it doesn't really, they don't have to be super smart, just have enough brain function to not make the people devolve or whatever. So how on earth did they get into those facilities, and what worth were those people? I don't want to be rude or anything like that, but in those kinds of conditions, the mind can definitely break very easily. It's not actually as hard as you would think to break down a human being and reduce them to nothingness. And if you are actually really raised in conditions where you're a mass-produced farm, not as much care is taken, the mamas don't have to be, you know, you're not in a loving environment or anything like that, and you're a child, the brain is not even developed. Everybody knows that your first couple of years of life, the development that takes place in the human brain is extremely important, and if you're raised under certain conditions, you really can ruin the person. You can create all kinds of issues. I'm not saying that like if you have like an issue you're not worth anything, but what I'm saying is the state that these children would be in is way worse than you could think of anyone being in. How would they ever be able to function, and what help could they possibly get in the real world when they're not technically people? And when I say they're not people, what I'm saying is they have no identification, they have no citizenship from any country. What help could they possibly get, and how can you possibly explain why you need all this help for these kids? Like, if you're gonna go to social services?
I know that we all probably have anecdotal evidence of what happened to someone going through a traumatic experience or going through abuse. Now, compound that for 6 to 12 years in a battery-produced farm, like you said, is saving them worth it? And like, you've been nice about it and saying, you know, you don't think they have no worth, blah blah blah.
They've been experimented on as well.
Yeah,
there's so many elements.
Basically what I'm saying is they're definitely not worth it. You're wasting your time. You've done what you had to do, and you took what? How old did Phil look? Maybe 11?
He looked like 11 to me.
So that's what, 6 years, 7 years? So it took Emma 6-7 years to change the world in the demon world, and yet we haven't got that story. We
don't even know what changes really happened. I have no idea.
I just feel like I've wasted my time watching this anime. I'm upset. I'm actually upset.
What on earth happened to all the demons who just wanted to hunt humans just because? they all just had a change of heart. Just like in the human world, they have criminals, they have people that like hurting others. The demons would have also had the same thing. And also, I got this kind of you are what you eat vibe from the demons.
Yeah.
So if you did eat someone who was a criminal, would that affect the demon brain? I'm not really sure.
But they didn't tell us.
I should be sure.
I
should know that. I should know that.
Bruv, you know what? Guys, just let us know what you think, because I'm pretty sure me and Ruki can talk about this for ages now.
This is the worst anime I've watched this year so far, and there has been actually quite a few bad ones. If this was a standalone, I wouldn't be viewing it as harshly, I think. But because there is a season 1, because it was so good, and then you gave us this, and then you just wrapped it up, the finale, I wish I hadn't even bothered. If they did come up with a season 3, which I really do not think that they will, especially with all the terrible reviews they've had, I do not think they would spend any more money trying to get another season out of this. But if they did, I would not watch it.
Same.
What a way to destroy the legacy of a very good manga series that everybody loved. I don't know why anyone would actually treat it this poorly. It's a real shame. It's really sad, actually, that I feel like they've treated the fans like garbage by producing this. They have actually treated the fans like garbage, and I really hope that between Cloverworks and Shirai, that something like this is never made again.
I've got nothing else to say.
So guys, goodbye. I'm not even going to close it out like I usually do. Goodbye, because that's all this is worth.
Peace.